be frustrating.
Very time consuming and very tedious. Yeah, tedious.
Who liked it? There we go. Okay. Who? Now, I only say that.
That was the worst one.
I only
so
say.
far.
I say that statistically. And here's why, friends. Here's why. I say that statistically. You got to be careful when you ask for really non-scientific general consensus like that. It's the same thing when you look at Amazon for reviews for products. Same exact thing happens on Amazon for reviews for products. It's very hard often to get an objective review from something like Amazon. Why? Well, who's going to write a review, Josh?
The people who get that experience.
Or the ones that have extraordinarily favorable experiences because they already love the product. There's plenty of bias and things like that. It was stupid of me to even ask, how's the project? The best way for me to get that data would be to send you guys an anonymous survey and require you to take it. That would be the best way to get that data. Because if I just simply say, how's the project? If you thought it was good, you're like, it's fine. And then you're done. You're done talking, right? And if you didn't think it's fine, you're going to go, you know exactly why you didn't think it was fine. This happens all the time. It happens with Blackboard. That's why I was so anti-Blackboard for 3 weeks, because all I was hearing was the bad, the bad, the bad, the bad. And then I realized that was only 5% of the students, and I'm like, well, shoot, let's just help those 5%. The other 95% are already happy. So bias in statistics is a real thing, yes? Totally a real thing. Whenever you do any kind of experimental design, it's a real thing. So you gotta watch that kind of stuff. You gotta watch that, how, in 244 just yesterday, we were talking about commercials in television shows. How many of you think commercials are too loud with their television shows?
Didn't they just pass something?
2 years ago, Congress got involved, thank God.
Yeah.
Now the problem will be solved. FCC and, well, I'm not sure about that one. Maybe Josh.
They try it.
And it failed?
It was in, they passed it, and then nobody just paid attention.
Nobody paid attention to it. So now Congress went again and made a law 2 years ago, tied the FCC in, and said, commercials cannot be louder than the shows that they accompany. And I have yet to be able to see how they've defined louder. Yeah. Because they haven't defined it well at all. They haven't have any decibel readings in there.
I noticed that they weren't as loud.
There's an obnoxious factor.
Well, hang on, but define obnoxious. Define loud, define obnoxious. I'm not disagreeing with you guys that you perceive it as obnoxious, but in order to pass an edict like that, commercials will not be louder than their shows, you have to define what louder is. Like no more than 20% higher dB readings than the show, or something. And then you have to say to yourself, what dB reading are you talking? Are you talking about the maximum decibel or the average decibel reading? If you ever put you can get free decibel readers on your phone. Right here, I'll just tell you, hang on a second. Hang on. And it tells you both the average decibel readings and also the maximum decibel readings. Let me find it, here we go. Let's pick a good one. Decibel 10th, oh I like that one because it nods to the fact that decibel, deci means 10. As you go up the decibel readings, they're 10 times more intense each time. I am talking right now somewhere, I don't want to add. Let's see, it says my peak, that's 80. That was 100. Okay, so that would be 20% louder, 25% louder. I didn't.
So much louder to your ear, though.
Okay, good. But now we've put a number to it. So 100 is 25% louder than 80, right? I get the math right. Is that right? Yeah, because 20 is 25% of 80. Add that in. So you can make a reading that says the peak decibel reading of a commercial cannot be more than, say, 15% louder than the show it goes with. And then you can measure that, you can metric that. You can actually put a computer to govern the volume. When they submit their commercials to play, you can then slap a cap on how loud, like a governor on a car. You ever driven a car with a governor on it? Yeah, it's kind of freaky. You try to go fast, all of a sudden it just won't go faster.
Semi-trucks?
Like 55 miles an hour. It's like I rented a U-Haul once, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh, it's a governor. You can't go faster than 55, thank God. Let's say that's 84. Max was 102. Anyway, regardless, pause. The problem with it is, the FCC made a website and put a question for the American people that said, have you ever been blasted by a loud TV commercial? Yes or no? Guess how many yes votes there were out of 100? 95. And there were 5 that said no. And the FCC looked at that and go, wow. But this was 95% of those responding said yes, 5% said no. Well, of course, who's on the FCC website? People that are pissed. They're there looking to yell at somebody because the commercials are too loud. How about the ones that don't care about the commercials? Are they on the FCC website?
Nope.
Probably not. So you're getting a biased sample. You're getting a biased sample. And this happens all the time in media. all the time. We're studying it very, very deeply in 243 and 244. But just heads up, it's very hard to design an experiment where bias is minimized. When you can, you should use computer technology to help you unbias things. I'll show you one of those in a second when we go back to the Monty Hall question. We'll get back to that momentarily. But I mean, bias is tricky. It's one of those things you have to be aware of. You have to be aware of it, and you have to be aware of underrepresentation in the population. Like, those who aren't pissed aren't voting. Those who aren't upset about the project don't say anything. So then I think the project is terrible because all I hear about is negative. Well, that's because the ones that were okay with it don't say anything, and that's okay. That's okay too. I have to remember that as a human being, because you've heard the phrase, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The non-squeaky wheel has enough grease. I got to remember that. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. Cool. I'll get some quizzes up for you guys for next week. I got a fun randomization quiz involving Max and Legos, which I told you about. What else am I going to give you next week? I'll find something good for you. Yes,
Will
Amy.
those be up before the weekend?
Yes, they'll be up probably tomorrow afternoon. I would say today afternoon, but my advisees, who I haven't seen in 6 months, have all decided to find me now. And yell at me
All at the
for not
last
clearing
minute.
them. Like, why would I clear them? Because you're my advisor. I have no idea what you're doing in your classes. But, okay. You're not in your office. It's 5 o'clock on Tuesday night at my son's chess club. You should be in your office at 5 o'clock on Tuesday night. I've been here since 4 a.m. Seriously. Anyway, don't do that to your advisors, please. No, thank you.
No.
Good, don't.
I saw mine like 3 weeks